That's always a good thing.
but on camera. So I got to really have my wits about me.
You getting paid for this one, or you just a freebie?
Yeah, off the OnlyFans, you know.
All right.
For the people. The people are paying me. Damn, you just came in with the illest style I ever seen, though. You still got the tag on the side of your jacket. I don't know if that's intentional or not.
It wasn't.
I hate to call you out, but it's better than them calling it out. I've just seen it for an hour and a half straight or whatever it is.
It wasn't.
So
we had to get the Mitchell and Ness though, because Mitchell, that's a Philly thing.
Oh yeah,
the Mitchell and Ness.
No, that's a classic right there. I've been having a lot of good Philly talent in here recently.
Yeah,
old and new. I had Freeway.
Freeway, that's my brother.
And then more recently, I had Skrilla. And Mr. Disrespectful, aka YBC Duel.
Yeah, you had Duel up here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you're still super tapped in, huh? Yeah. You hip hop till you die.
Mm-hmm.
That's good to know.
Yeah, I love hip hop, man. From my generation to the generation before me, like the Big Daddy Kanes, the Rakims, the LL, Kumos, all the way up to the 90s hip hop. I would say hardcore, rough era, the Raekwons, the Wu-Tangs, the Nas, the boot camp cliques. Like I came through all those eras. I'm a late 70s baby, so I came through all those eras.
Okay, but what's the moment in your hip hop fandom that had you the closest to just being like, man, f this shit. I'm not really feeling what this has turned into.
Right before I made the show.
Really? All the way back then?
Yeah.
2000, ringtone rap kind of starting to take over?
Well, I got signed 2002, so yeah, around that era, because I was fresh home from jail May 17th of 2000. So it took me 2 years on the street to really grind, do the mixtape thing until I got the notoriety to be able to make the show or have the skill set to be able to audition for the show.
Right.
So yeah, it was like...
In terms of like what was going on stylistically that you weren't feeling though, I might have like 2000 is like pre-ringtone rap, but yeah. I feel like I remember 2002. It was like 50 taking over the world,
definitely 50.
But then there's a lot of like Lil Jon and a lot of like the South really rising up. Some shit that's like specifically not lyrical.
You had the Dipset movement, you had the G Unit movement. Of course, Jay was still doing their thing. Rockefeller was really heavy, so that was like. Philadelphia was a big Rockefeller town.
100%.
A bad boy town. And then the South was, taking over, as we say. And, we had Lil Jon, East Side Boys, Bone Crusher, Killer Mike. Like, we had all those guys. T.I., Jeezy, then the Trap era, then Gucci. Like, I was on Gucci's like second album, Welcome Back to the Trap.
Really?
When he was still down on Big Cat Records.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
How'd you even tap in with them?
It's going down Atlanta. I had one of those managers that never wanted me to stay in one spot. Shout out to DC, but we always kept on the move. For the notoriety of the show, we just went to Atlanta, which Atlanta is like a real big market for Bad Boy. So we always was there. They had the Justins there, and you know what I'm saying, his family lived there. Kim lived there. Bad Boy South Block Entertainment, Jeezy, Boys in the Hood, Young Jock, all those guys. So. We was in Atlanta a lot, so that was like my second home. And then me being out in the club, running to this one, running to that one. We met a parlay from Franchise Boys, because he was signed to Big Cat Records also. So he was label mates at one time. Gucci Man and the Franchise Boys. They were signed to Big Cat Records
at the same time.
At the same time,
he was only with Big Cat for a couple of years before they fell out, right?
Yeah, 2 or 3 years.
Definitely. It's actually crazy when you say that, when you think about like the Jay Nas beef, that in a lot of ways, Jay establishing himself so much in Philly probably really helped to shore up support in the city.
Definitely planted a flag in Philly, and the impact is still felt to this day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Freeway doing everything he's still doing. Bean still doing everything he's doing. Young Chris. They're about to do a 20-year anniversary for their album they put out. 20-year collective anniversary.
I can interview like a 25-year-old Philly rapper, and we'll still end up talking about state property.
That's how big the impact.
Like they're literally not even old enough to have remembered it in real life, but still, that moment really kind of like helped solidify
the Rockaware, the velour, the Air Force Ones, that whole era. That was like Bad Boy State Property. Nelly, Saint Lunatic, G, and it was like that whole, that's my graduating class.
Definitely. So, okay, where were you at when you start witnessing all of that stuff going on? Because I'm curious about the era before the making the band thing kind of like sends your career into a totally different direction.
I was in Philly, so I grew up in a Christian family. So, then still like going to school real early in my life. So I made it all the way to a pre-college high school, which was called Central High School. So DJ Drama went there, me, Cassidy, Bill Cosby is an alumni, and I think there's another guy. But I was always raised to do something academically with my mind. So the music thing was always negative for them, for my family. So I was trying to find that. I was a young kid. I was, coming from, public housing, going to this good school all the way in the suburbs. I had to get up 5 o'clock in the morning to even do the commute to get to school. So that played the part. And then coming from low income housing and going to a high school that was diverse with, Oriental people, Native Americans, black, white, Hispanic. It just was like they had the nicer clothes. And I tried to keep up with the Joneses, end up hustling, getting in trouble, and then that spiraled out of control, and then I got locked up. So by the time I made the show, I was already on probation. I got out 2000, May 17th for 2000. So I was already trying to walk off the parole and the probation and all that. So, with that being said, I signed a production deal with Black Key. He was a guy that used to, be from my neighborhood, from my projects, and he helped develop me.
And you were what age when you signed that?
I was 22.
And that was in lieu of like doing a management deal or him signing, or you signing to his label? It was just
like a production deal.
Okay.
I gave him like power of attorney so he can shop my demos to different labels and different, situations. So I had to lock in with that situation for his lawyer be confident enough to, promo my tape and play my demo for such and such.
And you becoming an elite MC in Philly at this time consisted of what? Because nowadays, if you're a young rapper, you're just like self-filming TikToks and music videos and putting them on YouTube.
Right.
What did that look like for you at that time?
Battling.
It was all battling. Okay.
Battling. That's the only way you got your respect, your recognition, kind of like your street cred from going to other neighborhoods and battling in the top guys from those neighborhoods, especially in jails where I got my name. Everybody think it's Elliot Ness because of the federal agent that took on Al Capone back in the prohibitionary area. I never knew who Elliot Ness was. My real name is Lloyd Mathis. People called me L. When I was locked up and battling people, my man that was from Southwest, rest in peace, Dirt Dog, he just called me Elliot Ness because my name was L. My name is Lloyd.
And it would be strange for you to name yourself after somebody in law enforcement.
Yeah. So
I don't know if any rappers ever done that.
I just took off the Elliot Ness and just E-Ness.
Right.
So
100%.
I didn't know, because I was never a fan of gangster music, movies or that type of genre until after.
Right.
So I was always a kid. I like sports and comic books because that was close to Greek mythology. So I'm a real big fan of Greek mythology.
Right. Okay. So I'm sitting having a conversation with Mr. Disrespectful yesterday, and he's describing like how bad the streets of Philly have gotten at this point. Was that your impression of it at that time? Like, was it an extremely violent, dangerous place, or was all things considered, it wasn't so crazy at the time?
In certain areas, there's always going to be extremely violent. Philadelphia being one of them, Chicago being another, Detroit, Atlanta, L.A. You know what I'm saying? It's these certain markets that's always going to be dangerous. But as far as the hip-hop community is concerned, niggas wasn't really big on rap like they is now. Now you got the drill era and people dissing. People go out and do things and then they go in the booth and record about what just happened and what they just did. It was more fun, more hip hop. Everybody was trying to get on and be successful and get out of that circumstances that was in. Now it's more who's authentic and who's really living their raps out, who's spinning the block and who's drilling and who's really robbing and stealing and getting locked up and standing tall and standing on business. They're not talking about the talent no more. They're just talking about the authenticity of the artist.
Definitely. And is there part of you that appreciates seeing that and finds it interesting? Or
I grew up in all eras, so I never got stuck in one box. You just got to be a hard gangster rapper, kill a dog, kill a fish tank, kill a kids. And I like Busta Rhymes. I like Missy. I like the hieroglyphics. I like, you know what I'm saying, all different souls of mischief. Like I was one of those kids that just wasn't East Coast rap and that's it. I love all types of, because it gave me different perspectives of, you know what I'm saying, angles to come from as far as musically.
Because when you're having conversations with fellow rap fans, it's like two very different types of dudes. It's like you'll meet some people who are immersed in one generation of hip hop and they know a lot about that time period, but then it takes a certain type of fan to stay interested as the years goes by and the changes, and it takes an even different level of fan to know what's going on in a shitload of different geographical locations at any given time, because you even just knowing about America, there's like 10 plus cities that you got to be interested in. And then even, I know some people that could give you a list of 10 rappers they with from the UK. A lot of American rap fans would never even dream of like spending that much time being interested in that.
The Chicago genre ushered in, they had a lot of impact on it in a lot of inner cities around America. Philadelphia is a direct, like the energy in Philadelphia now is a direct, like,
yes,
retaliation. Like, it's like, you feel what I'm saying? It's like the drill scene in New York. And I could be wrong, but until Chicago and Chief and Reese and all them came, my little nigga Philly knew more about the beef in Chicago than they did in Philadelphia at one time.
It created a totally different archetype for what a rapper could be and what you needed to do to be considered successful. I actually have a great question. Somebody asked me this during an interview the other day, and I've been rethinking my answer ever since. They said, who made more of an impact, 50 Cent or Chief Keef?
Wow.
I immediately went to 50 Cent because I remember living through that era, and it felt like every single rapper either had to be in opposition to G Unit or they had to be like a friend
Alliance,
of G Unit.
right? Yeah,
and that to me was something I'd never seen, and it was the first time that you had like the #1 rapper also being like very much respected by the streets and the underground to whatever extent was possible. Obviously, he had plenty of issues with people.
Sosa is he's a supporter of mine. We talk behind the scenes. Shout out to damn, I can't even.
Peter Pan,
that's my guy. So when
that's a good guess right there.
No, because it's crazy. Because when I was rolling and I used to go to Chicago, they used to hold me down.
Really?
And then it was crazy that he ended up just investing in Chief and all them and just spawning a whole new genre of music with that.
So you were fucking with Peter Pan before he was
like
Chief Keef's manager?
Almost 20 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting.
That's my guy.
How do you know him, though?
White Chalk just...
Because I don't know what he was doing before
the internet was we just was linking with different, like, yo, I'm going to be in Chicago, I'm going to be in LA, I'm going to be in Detroit, and we were just getting with different promoters and different guys, reaching out to them via the internet, and they would link with us, and there would be good energy, and we would just keep up the rapport over the years.
Right. Man, that's dope. Yeah,
shout out to Peter Pan, though. That's my guy. Like, he's a stepper before, like, the exec that did you see him to be now?
Really?
Stepper.
I mean, there's got to be a reason why Sosa has been able to respect him and work with him for so long when it seems like Chief Keef has a very hard time working with almost everyone.
Yeah, like, at a time where it was this website where they was, like, kind of, like, paying homage to all the, like, Chief and all the artists that was coming up. There's a lot of people that was like negative. Oh, take that shit off there. It's promoting violence, and that's why all the killings is happening in the city. And Peter Pan and just stuck with it. And to me, Chief Sosa is the godfather of this drill. Like, I don't know what everybody else feel, but Sosa is the godfather of drill music in Chicago.
For sure.
But he started the whole, everybody kind of like felt the energy and started their own thing. But yeah, Sosa, but 50 Cent, when he came, he made it like, because it was 03, so you got to understand it was the All-Star Weekend. We was in Atlanta. The band had just got signed. We was working on the album, and it was like 50 Manny. So you got to understand when we was rolling around, me, 50, and G Unit, we was like kind of like promo mates. So say they would be doing No Jumper. When they leaving out the door, we coming in to do No Jumper. Or we doing Hot 97, we leaving out the door and they coming in. So we always see them because they was on the same promo run. The Young Guns, State Property, Freeway, G Unit, Game, T.I., Jeezy, Bone Crusher, David Banner, Little Flip. These are all my guys that we seen at all the shows all the time in every city. Like say we did the what's the big show in Summer Jam? We did the Summer Jam in New York one weekend, and the next weekend we'd be in Dallas doing a big Houston Superdome Joan with Steve Franchise and Ludacris. We see the same people all the time, so it was like the same rotating faces and community of that year. Whoever's popping them there, that's who you see. But G Unit, they definitely had a big impact, but I don't know who had a bigger impact.
It's super hard to judge.
It's super hard to judge.
Because they impacted the culture in such different ways in the sense that 50 sold all these records. And yeah, like the drill era, like they might not have sold as many records, but you can look at almost every city in America and point to the influence and the impact.
50 was huge. No Diddy. Huge.
Yeah, 100%. Wait, so you could say no Diddy even though you're basically an adamant Diddy defender?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I mean, so I won't adamant defend because nobody, like, that's what I'm saying, because we never, He hasn't been charged yet. That's been like a week, almost a week and a half, 10 days ago when we seen everybody raid the crib. So I don't know what's going on, but I know nobody's been charged. So it's like, what the how serious is? We know.
Right.
And we come from different backgrounds. We might come from the same, but we know when the feds hit, usually somebody's getting taken out in cuffs.
Right.
That hasn't happened.
My thing about it too is that or almost everybody who's in your position, who is an actual artist on the label for a long period of time, has spent years and years and years around them. Now there are exceptions because you can look at somebody like Gene Deal was a bodyguard and he has some crazy ass stories, but it feels like I don't see Mace. Mace is like the number one person that has a reason to shit on Diddy and to paint some false narratives about him. He ain't doing it. It feels like most people on the guy's side of things are not really out there. And I'm particularly concerned with the gay accusations because it doesn't feel like we have really enough to go on to solidify that.
It's all speculation, man. It's all speculation. I don't really know. Like, my time up there, I just didn't see that energy and wasn't around. It was always with women. So I don't know about the gay shit. I don't know, but we just was isolated. We was kept away from that. We was always kind of depicted as kids or the kids of the label.
But you weren't even that young, right?
I was 25, but coming in at that stage and the competition and being that it was a show based around that, we were depicted as kids.
Right. Was there an extent to which you were concerned that this being such a huge part of your come up, that then the other rappers might not necessarily take you as serious because reality TV tends to have that effect?
No, for sure. It hurt us a lot being hazed on TV, but the hip hop community in whole didn't resonate with us because of all the hazing. But we was real big with the college crowd because of the hazing. You understand? So military people and people that is in the workforce, job orientation, like that, people that really get up and have to work a job or provide for their family understand the hazing part to some extent. But the hardcore hip hop community, it doesn't, because we expect every artist to be invincible, have a bulletproof skin, and can't be nothing. So they want to see you always at the light of invincibility. Once you're being hazed by another man, it's like, you're not that super gangster we thought you was.
Right.
But it happens in everyday society.
And even in that era, being viewed as like an industry plant in any way is always kind of like a tough thing to deal with as a career. We was always
depicted as the kids with the silver spoons. We were too unappreciative of our opportunity. But the game is a hurry up and wait thing. It was hurry up, wait, sit, hurry up, wait, sit, hurry up, sit down. So it was like we was always, we got to be here, we got to be there, we got to be. And then with the distraction of reality TV and lights and shit like that, like we had to get out the car 3 or 4 times just so the cameras can get it in different angles.
Right. And that's the crazy thing about being involved with a production like that, is that everybody believes that they're witnessing reality. And then you kind of, you almost don't even want to explain to people like what you're seeing on TV is completely different than what really happened, because it sounds like you're copping a plea. It sounds like you're making excuses, and you can't really expect people to understand.
Everybody goes off the rocker when it comes to the cheesecake thing. I did it one time in my life, but people that work at UPS, they do it all year long.
Right.
They walk for cheesecake all year long. Walking for cheesecake is just an acronym for when you're doing something for somebody else and not yourself to get where you want to be.
Right.
So some people think, oh, y'all got played, but you do it every day. If you work for a job, you don't tell your boss what you ain't gonna do and what you're not gonna do. Same thing I did. A lot of people, they like, well, I wouldn't have did it, but he's a black man in a widely, predominantly corporate society where it's not really normal for a black man to have that power and have that influence that he has.
Right. One thing that really stood out to me about it was that, like, I kind of missed this as a young kid, is that they were basically like trying to initiate you guys becoming much more than just rappers. Like Puff was very much of the mind state that he wanted to have, talent that was going to be able to like do more than just spit a verse. Like
just
that standard,
record themselves.
You don't see that anymore.
No, you don't. You don't.
If you ever did, that's just like very, very out of the ordinary, and it's interesting because it kind of created like a different.
Even though we didn't have a storybook ending that everybody would like for us to have, I learned a lot of valuable things being under his system. I would say record. just how to be a people person, when people being negative, when people just how to reciprocate bad vibes as well as good vibes. And your biggest challenge will be your friends and family. That's what I learned from him.
What do you mean?
I mean, they're the biggest testers because they're the ones that closest to you. They can hurt you the most. They know everything about you. So when it's beneficial for them to stick it in, no Diddy, they will because they know all the deepest secrets about you. And you have your kind of guard down for those people that's closest to you, which being your friends and your family.
So you discovered that early on that a lot of the people that you were close with before you reached this level of fame were not going to necessarily stick around for the ride because you weren't going to be able to compensate them the way that they wanted?
For sure. Well, the whole experience hit me like a ton of bricks too. I called my hood, the person that was running the hood at the time. Like, yo, they trying to make me walk. What should I do?
Really? So you actually consulted with your OG? Wow.
And the hood was like, what are you coming home for? You better not come back here empty-handed. So everybody think, oh, you walked, you got played. No, it was an OG call. It was a hood call. That's why I walked, because my projects didn't want me to come back empty-handed. So they're like, yo, do whatever you got to do to keep on with the competition, bro. Whatever they tell you to do, do it. Don't come back here because, you know what I mean, it ain't going to be good for you if you come back empty-handed.
So if you had just lost the show, or then they would have been upset?
Yeah, they've been highly upset.
Really?
Because they was banking on my success, my notoriety to bring the hood more attention. So I was like, people always think, oh, you just walk for another man. I got on the phone, yo, hood, what we doing? Should I come home or should I walk? He's like, you better walk. You ain't coming back home with nothing. Fuck you go up there for? If you come home without no deal, we gonna fuck you up. That was basically what was said.
Right. And I mean, on the show, there's like a lot of different inflection points where it's kind of like that's the thing that you're watching play out is like, are you gonna see Ness be his true self and do exactly what he feels like doing right now, which in many cases was like beating the shit out of somebody? Or is he going to actually be able to play the game and resist that urge and just be professional?
It's crazy because I was on a run. So I had been stopped reporting. I had a three-year tail.
Right.
So I was on a show and then I didn't know whether I was going to, be selected for the group or what. So it came to a point where I had to tell Bad Boy and the staff that I had legal issues and they gave me a letter of consent. So with the letter of consent, took that back to Philly and a probation officer let me go up there. So I was legally in their care for the rest of the competition after that. So I would wild out, but I couldn't wild out but so much because I was legally in their care, in their jurisdiction. So any type of interruptions or discrepancies, they could just send me back home to Philly to face whatever legal issues I had there.
Right. So you were dealing with that, and then also it's like you're on TV and you want to make it as a rapper, and but you guys were fighting enough that it's like it seems like that was almost kind of encouraged as well.
I mean, yeah, it was encouraged because we were just put in an environment where we was always at each other's necks. They took away all our individual cell phones. We had to use one cell phone between 6 people that never lived in the house before.
Right, and that's when you didn't pick up the phone about the wig for the one girl.
For Babs, yeah.
I showed my girl like yesterday. Like I'm like, think about this conflict. Like think about the fact that he didn't pass the message on about her hair. That now everybody's handling all their own shit at all times. Yeah. And
I got bad flack about that because I didn't score too big with the females because of all the females. You should have gave her the phone, but I'm like, I don't know because there's a lot of people that don't like to be interrupted when they're asleep.
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of people.
That's a big decision. You have a home phone and you're going to wake somebody up because of the call and it's like about hair and you're a dude and you're thinking like, I ain't even got hair. Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm not.
So it wasn't like I was thinking for her and I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have. I just made a bad call. That was it. But Babs that's my home girl and she was from the trenches and we got a new song on my new album coming up.
Oh, really?
Ness and Friends, too. And I got Freddie on there, too. Get involved. Me and Babs got a song, Bonnie and Clyde, because we were supposed to do a Bonnie and Clyde joint album after the band was dismantled. But she was offered a deal, and I was offered a deal. She didn't accept it, and I took it. So I had a solo deal from 06 to 09.
Right.
When he went with, changed over distribution deals with Interscope.
Definitely. So that's when it actually ended. It was in 09?
09. So I was up there from 02 to 09.
Jesus Christ.
One album, 2 deals.
Yeah. And how did you feel about that time? Like, how much of that time did you spend frustrated?
I was
versus...
fucked up because Puff called me personally, and I was supposed to get a second advance. So it was a lot of shit I was learning about the business that I didn't know without me navigating through the business. I didn't know that you're supposed to get a living expense. And if you don't ask for it, they won't give it to you.
Right.
So I was getting like $5,000 monthly just to be a recording artist on Bad Boy after my additional advance.
Right.
So and it's like a what you call it, an offshore expense fee every month to move the artists around.
Right.
But if you don't know and you don't ask for it, you won't get it. My phone was free, and Bad Boy had their own media people, so I had a free BlackBerry upgrades and all that type of shit. So Puff really taught me a lot of shit, and if it wasn't for him, I would have been 86 a long time ago. Really, did you be on a label where the CEO and the owner keeps you on the label for 7 years?
Right.
And I only produced one album. It was because of my writing ability and just my skill set to stay in the studio. I was a studio rat.
Right.
I was a studio rat.
So that's what kept you in that operation longer than a lot of other people? It's just that you had that work ethic?
Yeah. I would walk in Central Park in the blizzard from Park Avenue where we was taping the show at all the way to 44th, West 44th to go to Daddy's house to record in the blizzard. This is before Uber and all that shit. Walk in the snow, just get my thoughts together because the show was like a fucking think tank. It's like a fucking jail. It was like a prison. You can't go to sleep unless, you can't take the mic off unless you go to sleep. As soon as you wake back up, they got to re-mic you. You go anywhere, you got to get permission. You got to get a clearance to go in any building, department store, 7-Eleven, because you got cameras behind you. You can't go to sleep unless you're ready to not be a part of the cast. And that's how it is.
So was there part of you that was not sure how big this was going to be? Because at the time there wasn't that much reality TV, so and obviously it's Puff, so it's going to be a
honestly
big deal.
I thought it was like a American Idol thing. It was a one winner only thingy.
Right. And they didn't tell you that the idea was the band until later? When did you start to figure that out?
When they start picking up like 85 motherfuckers every time we audition. 30 here niggas here, 50 niggas. I'm like, why the fuck? When they gonna start eliminating? Like then they're like, no, they making a group. I'm like, they making a group. But Puff and them came to me early on like, yo, we like you. We fuck with you. We got big plans for you. This is just your first task. Complete this, and then we promise you a different solo, definitely a solo situation.
Right. Damn, that's so crazy to think about. Just like what that must have been like.
I was fucking fried the whole time because I didn't know, like I was one step away from going to jail. So my thing was be a good little artist enough to stay out of prison. You know what I mean? Like have a good report from Bad Boy when I go back down to see my probation officer in Philly.
Right.
It got to a point where I wasn't even seeing my current probation officer. I became the probation officer's darling. They would substitute my probation officer for another probation officer just to come in and take pictures and get autographs with me.
Right.
Because we was on TV every Thursday at 8 o'clock.
That's crazy. Like,
crazy. So I went from a fucking savage and a flight risk to the loosest supervision that like anybody could ever have on adult probation.
It's just such a crazy era of rap to think about because it was a time where it was so difficult to become famous or successful as a rapper, and now it feels like we live in an era.
Without a cosign, though.
Right.
Without a cosign.
Yes.
Now you could just be an internet sensation, and next week you're doing shows for 20,000.
Right.
Off an internet viral song.
Yeah.
With no management, nothing.
And it blows my mind now when I go to look at XXL or The Source from back in the day, and it'll be like a 3-page Ness spread, but then there's also a couple of Ness ads in there. And to me now it's so fucking obvious. Like, how did I not really like put this together as a kid that they're only glorifying the rappers that they have relationships with the labels?
I had a nice little run. I had a nice little run with Stall and Dean, which was like in competition with Mitchell and Ness back then. They did like all the black old teams, the college prep, all that shit.
Shit was gigantic for a couple of years.
We had an endorsement from Stall and Dean. We had endorsement from Foot Locker. Had endorsement from Lot 29. They used to do little Daffy Duck and Bugs Bunny clothes that used to see Joel's in the Source and shit with. Had a rim endorsement. So I had a nice little run back then. Nice little run. Mitchell and Ness gave me a little sponsorship back then.
Right. all that crazy iceberg shit and everything. It was like an era where there was nothing too goofy to put on clothing, and it would still be viewed as hard. That was like a new innovation. Like you never really thought of that before. It was the
team era that was ushered by. I would say the first person to usher that was Phife Dawg from Tribe Called Quest. He was one of the first guys rocking all the team shit. Like he would go out his way to go to the places to get all the team jerseys. Then Kanye, then Fab, then Hov and them, the state property, and that whole Rockefeller just took it over. And then he switched the whole gears and made niggas do button ups and shit like that. I remember that whole era.
Do you remember like specifically having to throw out your throwbacks because Jay like
I'm mad as
denounced them?
I had like
40 grand worth of throwbacks in the closet.
I had the Wilt Chamberlain throwback when he scored 100. I had that, not the actual one he wore, but the replica of that one, the actual, and I gave it away. I gave away like famous Sixers jerseys and famous Reggie White Eagles jersey. I gave it away.
Right.
Pieces that you would never like. I had a Pete Rose Phillies jersey from Mitchell. I gave it away. Wow. When I look back on it now, that jerseys is popping and team apparel is popping again. I'm like, why did I give away those fucking iconic pieces?
Yeah.
I had the Larry Bird Indiana State jersey.
Whoa.
Gave it away.
That's sick.
Had the Michael Jordan from the NBA store on 6th Avenue in New York. Autographed by Michael Jordan.
Right.
The 23 Joan. Gave it away.
Wow.
Because niggas was done with fucking team apparel. So I just gave it away. But these are the pieces I wish I had kept.
Now I'm at the point in my life where any shirts, any clothes I have that I think that there's any chance that it's gonna like mean something to me down the road, I archive that shit and just like package it up and stick it in the closet because I have so many memories of things that I owned 20 years ago that I wish I had now.
How big the clothes we was wearing back then.
Oh, just like the actual size, yeah. No, I remember.
I still had the baseball jersey from our first video. Bad boy this, bad boy that. It was like the baseball thing because we was depicted as the Bad News Bears back then. So that was what was the whole concept behind the video. Once you look back at it now,
right?
Like Puff was Roger Matthews and we was the Bad News Bears. So I still got my 3X jersey from that actual video shoot and wearing it now. I'm actually swimming in it. I can fit 2 people in the jersey. But back then it was like regular fitting size. I don't know how. It's over time. Clothes change, the way they fit, the way they manufacture, the way they stitch it is just built differently.
Right.
But then the European era came in with the Truies and the Red Monkeys and the fucking what was that? Evisus. Now
these
it's
ain't
back
diesels.
to
These are Visus.
It's back to baggy clothes.
Yeah.
Kids is wearing the baggy
but
shit
not
now.
baggy like it used to be.
Not like it used to be.
Not quite as bad. Like I'll see a lot of skaters and they have like some baggy jeans.
Skater wear.
But it's not. And then also though, I still interview a ton of rappers who their pants are tight as fuck, and I'm kind of like I don't think that's gonna last that much longer.
No, it's phasing out. It's phasing out.
It's crazy to think that dudes are able to hide their gun in their tight ass clothes compared to like when those clothes back in the day, you could have 10 guns on you.
These niggas with these guns, man. What you think about like open carry states and shit? Like when you go to Atlanta and Miami and niggas got their guns on them in the Walmart and shit while you buying a game and shit. Like what do you think about that?
As a person who doesn't plan on committing any crimes, I don't really find it that unsettling. But you know, if you're a dude with like a weird tough guy attitude,
right,
and you got your shit just displayed on your side, like I don't know, that is kind of weird.
I be feeling uncomfortable. I don't like all these guns and open carry and everybody got like 7 motherfuckers in the Walmart line with guns on their hip. You could see. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
7 in a row. So I haven't had the pleasure of like seeing that sort of shit.
Go to Atlanta. Everybody has a fucking, even the females, they wearing a pistol on them, going to the club. Yo, damn, you gotta take that joint off. What you mean? I'm legal beagle. Fuck are you talking about? Yeah, like, motherfuckers got them guns out. There's too many guns, man. There's too many guns.
Really?
So there's too many guns. Philadelphia, over like niggas got at least 2-3 guns. That motherfuckers are not even in the shit. A post office worker got 3 guns.
Right.
That's how real it is out there, bro. And everybody's a fucking gunsmith.
Right.
Niggas not even doing nothing. Back in my era, I used to play football, basketball. You had a skill, a talent, a hobby. Everybody just want to be a gunsmith and a shooter.
Yeah.
That's it. Niggas don't even want to get no money. Back in my era, it was getting the money. Now this era is taking the money. Taking it from you. Waiting till the dope dealer do all the work and just take in 5 minutes from them.
Right.
That's the energy now.
Damn.
That's the energy.
No, it's crazy. The world has changed a lot for sure. Okay, so that era though, would you say that whole period made you like dramatically better as a rapper? Because like the one thing that always stands out is you saying that you had to like write verses over and over, that you'd have to write the same verse to a beat like over.
It made me a better writer. What Puff did is he would come in like, yo, did you write to the beat tape that I gave you? I was like, yeah, but I ain't really like them. He was like, yeah, that's your problem. You need to write to the shit that you don't like. And I never looked at it from that angle.
Because if you're only writing for yourself, you can get away with that. But if you want to be able to be truly multi-functional.
He might have seen it from that, but I seen it from a military standpoint. Meaning if I write to something I don't particularly like and I get through that, wait till I hear something that I really like.
Right.
It's just that more faster, that more potent, that more clever, that more witty. So that's how I dealt with that. Like, all right, I see what he's saying. What can I get from that? So if I write to something I don't particularly like and it's okay, it sounds kind of good, then wait till I get something I really like. I'm really going to go snap and really go crazy on it. And that's how I built up my conditioning as a writer. And they would make us write 5 verses per verse. So it was a 3-verse song. Then I would have to write 5 verses for the first verse, 5 verses for the second verse, and then 5 verses for the third verse. And they would pick one verse out of every one or piece it together. Like they'll piece of 4 from this one and piece of 4 from this one. It's just you see how records are produced in post-production and all that. Stevie J used to play live instrumentation. And that's what I found out about the overdubs. Like you listen to all the past Bad Boy albums, the Ready to Die, the live instrumentation when he's robbing a train, making everybody lay down on the train, robbing the train, the drums, the horns. That's an actual musician playing the live drums and horns in the back of the record over the record.
Right. Damn.
So I learned a lot about production and just recording ad-libs and overdubs. And just musically a lot from Puff that it's gonna stay with me for life.
So spending that much time composing actual songs and really familiarizing yourself with that, like how does it feel to see rap having gone in such a different direction where now almost everybody punches in and it's like everybody's just kind of doing one take?
Everything is sped up.
Yeah.
Everything is just sped up. The way we record music, the way we receive music, the way we premiere music, like you're your own label. You could literally buy the beat off YouTube, whatever, Spotify, record it right on your laptop, have your camera, record the whole thing, go viral, and you up and running without no artist development or nothing. They took it out the hands of the label and put it back into the hands of the artist. You got DistroKid, TuneCore, well, all these are moonlighting as facilities that will act as a label. You're really doing all the work yourself. Labels only step in when you already garnered the notoriety and attention, already making money. The labels don't want you to make the money. That's why they want you to come off tour and record an album and slow down your process so they can package it up and sell it.
It's crazy because I've realized just from being in the music industry type shit that like it's not just rap. That when it comes to songwriters in general, they'll put on a beat and then they start humming or doing like a mumble track to the beat to come up with like pop songs as well, and then they go and like turn that into actual lyrics after the fact. But they basically landed on the same conclusion that like a Gucci Mane landed on many years ago, which is like, I don't need to write this shit down. I just need to go in there and just like put together like a rough sketch over the beat.
A lot of people do. A lot of these artists do the hum effect, and then the writers will come in and fill in the blanks or follow the, you know what I mean, like the structure of the melody and just place those with words.
But you were sitting there listening to the beat, writing a 16 and then writing another 16 and then writing another 16.
No,
like
Puff had me doing that. He would leave skeletons of verses, little hum, say it like, and then I would just fill in the words with that. So it started there. And then, you know, I would go on to get other clients and they would practice the same kind of like procedures.
Oh, so he would actually be kind of throwing down
Yep.
the bass. Oh, okay, that's
Yep.
interesting.
Throwing down
You,
the skeleton.
you always wonder, like, as a producer or whatever, like exactly what he's bringing to the table or how involved he would want to be.
Puffer, remember a snare drum from an MPC 3000 from 5 years ago. That's how detailed he is. Like he knows, he's a knower of all things, even all the way down to what niggas is getting high off of. He knows.
Really?
Man, he had a long talk with me back in the day about barbiturates and downers and drugs and syrup and pills, and I didn't know he had a vast knowledge of those things, being how busy he is, and I mean all the things that he's got going on with his fashion and clothes and Bad Boys of Comedy. Like he had 5 different streams of income at the time.
Right.
He's sitting here talking about me about all the drugs and how they can fuck you up and all. And I'm like, yo, how the fuck do you know that?
And you don't even know about
Yeah.
drugs like that at that point?
I was introduced to it because became a party back in Philly. We share a kind of the same culture as Houston with the pills and the lean.
Because we looked at Beanie Siegel as being like one of the first East Coast rappers that we really heard
With
talking
the lean,
that
right?
lean shit.
Yeah,
Yes.
with the Purple Rain and shit. But
Yeah.
Houston was doing it too.
Yeah.
So when we look at it, it was kind of like frowned upon back then. And I was introduced to it from my peers, and it was like the cool thing to have. You a big time rapper, you on TV, nigga, here go the lean. This is like, that's what dope boy rappers, that's the drink of choice. Then you look, man, that's like, that fits, you're complete. So me being high and being sleeping at parties, I thought that was the real nigga shit to do, like the it thing to do. And then the same people that was giving it to me was kind of biting my back out to other people. He getting high, but I'm like, y'all the ones who's feeding me this shit.
It is crazy how like a dude with a double cup being kind of like, you know, falling all over. That's such like a rapper thing. But then meanwhile, when you think about it from the perspective of the label or the manager or whatever, it's like that's kind of like a nightmare scenario because you know how volatile people are when they're living like that.
It was frowned upon back then, but now it's pop culture. Like, you know, I mean, Future walking in the studio with a double cup is like everybody's celebratory. Like back in my day, it was like, oh, it's gonna fuck your career up. And for a long time, I was hooked on it, and I just had to wean myself off it and reevaluate because it was just bringing my health down.
Especially, you're talking about Puffy being up for a month straight. I don't know if people are familiar with that, but that's something you've been quoted as is like you've seen him hustle for a month straight and not get any sleep. When you're drinking lean, you got to sleep way more than the average person.
Way more.
Yeah.
And I just seen how hard, pause, he go at it. Like, goddamn, like the nigga up for a month straight. That's how he got that money like that. He's always, his gears is always turning. Think about the next deal, the next sponsorship, the next show, the next album, the next beat, the next song. I'm like, I mean, you know, some people have that drive and some people don't. And I noticed early on, I'm like, I might not have that crazy drive that he has. Like, I got to get some sleep.
Yeah.
And that's his separation of a lot of people.
But I feel like I've kind of drawn a different conclusion, which is that I feel like you want to work hard and you want to work smart. You don't want to work like 3 times as many hours as everybody.
Right.
You just want to put together a team that's going to help you be really productive without having to necessarily kill yourself. And for me, it's like, I want to work 40 or 50 hours a week, and I want to have I want to be able to get a good amount of sleep, spend time with my family, because I know if I don't do those things, I'm going to burn myself out so bad that I'm not going to really be able to be productive.
Something's going to take the hit, though.
Yes. Like, and you said that he had ulcers and like dealt with a bunch of health shit from it. Yeah.
Dealt with a bunch of shit because you never getting the proper rest your body's supposed to.
Right.
So you're dealing with a lot of shit that the public don't see, but he has to deal with because he's always chasing that dollar.
But when you're talking about him being up for that long, I mean, there's got to be some fucking drugs being consumed to keep you in that zone,
I'm
right?
not exaggerating. I'm not putting no cap, and I've literally seen this nigga be up for 30 days straight. Not a power nap, not nothing. And I'm like, he's cussing us out, me and I seen. Like, y'all sleep. I'm about to go do these morning interviews. I'm about to go do the Breakfast Club. I'm about to do, how y'all sleep?
Yeah.
And I got all the money, and I'm the nigga. Y'all sleep, but I'm up. And I'm like, damn.
It's good logic. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, like, fuck, maybe we are. This is what we need to be doing. Like, at that time, you must have been really thinking, like, fuck, what's wrong with me that I don't want to stay up for a week straight?
Damn. Like, he normalizing staying up for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But, I mean, at a certain point for me, I'm going to say, listen, I could go do these pointless fucking radio interviews that, like, yeah, it's good, I guess, but it's not that good. It's not enough to like sacrifice going and getting 4 or 5 hours sleep and then getting back on it.
Back in that time, I didn't understand it. Now that I'm older and I look back on it, I understand. Puff is a poster child for everything. Society has depicted Puff and certain other guys to be able to bring in that dollar from a certain ethnic people. Once you get the power from that, Puff uses all his other shit to sell all his other shit. I'm putting out an album, but I'm gonna sell a cologne, the Ciroc, this, that, forth. So this one interview is gonna turn into like 5 commercials for 5 other shit that I got going on. And then I learned, I'm like, he uses this money to fly around and promote the other 5 things that he has going on.
Right.
That's why he does promo run and drop albums to promote the liquor, the fragrances, the bad boys of comedy. Go get that. Go watch that. That's what he does.
But okay, you on a personal level, if you did an all-nighter tonight and then you got to go write some verses tomorrow, I'm assuming those verses are not going to be as good as they would be if you were to write them right now.
I don't get it fucked up. I had my time without, you know what I mean? I go heavy and I stay up and get shit done. I might have to do a freestyle for Cosmic Kev tomorrow. Then I had to be in fucking New York on SO or go do ACK, or might have to freestyle on fucking bars on 9-5. So I have my windows where I be up all week and moving around doing shit. But him, he's a demon with it. Like he'll go 2 and 3 weeks without getting no rest.
If I did an all-nighter last night,
to where his eyes burning, like he's in a session with us, like yo, damn, shit, fuck. Like his eyes is literally burning from staying up long periods of time. I've seen it, and I've seen how his body deteriorates from it. Like yo, you really sick. You really can't. Like you fucked up.
Damn.
Like you still in here trying to mix our album down, and you're literally sick.
When anyone else in his position would just be like, y'all mix it.
Exactly.
I don't need to be directly involved in every step of this, right? Yeah.
That's why his loaf is like that.
That's a part of the problem, is that he learned to do everything in the business. My business, I already have acknowledged I don't know how to do the vast majority of the things that the people who work for me do. I put it in their hands, and that allows me to focus more on doing the thing that I'm actually good at, which is having the actual conversation.
Puff is an initiator. If the LA Rams was going to win the Super Bowl, he would go make 1,000 shirts. LA Rams is the Super Bowl champions 2 nights before.
Really?
Yeah, he thinks 2 steps ahead.
Wow.
Like I'm gonna be out there with LA Ram champion shirts, and I already made them up 2 days before, 48 hours prior. So I'm gonna be the first ones out there with my table with the LA Ram champion shirts on. That's Puff.
All that actually kind of makes me feel bad about the fact that he must feel very frustrated right now, given that what are his lawyers and his advisors probably telling him? Don't say shit, be quiet. You got to just sort of wait this period of your life out.
Yeah.
Assuming there are no charges or anything, realistically, he just got to be quiet for a year, 2 years, etc.
We all just got to live long enough and preserve ourselves so we can see how it all play out.
Right.
A lot of people got these same allegations. They just highlighted Puff for whatever reason. I think that he's going to come out of it, you know what I mean, on top. Yeah, he might be crippled in various areas of doing business with certain
mainstream shit is going to be tough, but
it's not going to take him out of the game. It's Puff. Like he's been a staple for 30 years in this game. Fashion, liquor, and music. Like let's really talk about that. And the people who's quiet, they quiet, and the people who not, they not. And it just is what it is.
Right.
But as far as Ness, I've kept the seed planted in battle rap. So that battle rap world has funded another world for me to get back in mainstream hip hop and do my thing, put out projects, shoot videos, travels, do media, promo, things of that nature.
But around what time period did you start to pivot more towards the battle rap, or back into it, since you said that was
2008 when I battled my Shyne, World Series of Hip Hop.
Really?
I was supposed to do the rematch with J Mills because I initially battled J Mills on the show.
Right, yeah.
Puff was always, campaigning for me to do a rematch with J Mills on the season of Making a Band. At that time, I was trying to get away from the whole battle. I didn't want to be categorized as a battle rapper because the battle rappers had this myth that we couldn't make records.
Right.
So I thought the more I battle rap, the more I would be put in that category as a battle rapper.
Battle rappers still deal with that stigma, right?
Right to this day.
Yeah.
Right to this day. But we got some guys that make some good music. Free Sue Surf. Sue Surf is a good battle rap as well as making good music.
Right.
Arsenal.
Definitely.
Hitman Holla. Myself. Cassidy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of guys out there that's high-level battle rap and high-level music.
Right. You feel like battle rap's thriving right now, or is it in a weird place?
It's in a weird place. I ain't gonna hold you.
What is the weird part?
I don't know. I just they're running out of ideas and themes. It seems like everybody has already battled everybody already. Kind of need a new introduction of new blood, I would guess, to the culture. We seeing the same faces on the same cards, which is dope because all these guys are my peers, and at one form or another, we got a rapport. But it just seems like every card is the same card.
And you know what it is?
What you think, though?
But you tell me if this is an appropriate metaphor. There's the UFC, and then there's boxing. And the UFC is different than boxing because you just have one organization, and they put the fights together. And if you don't want to be in the UFC, you can kick rocks and you can go fight for one of these small organizations.
It's like Golden Boy and the joint that's Bud and them is signed to.
Right.
It's like,
because in the boxing world, it's like all these independent promotions and the fighters can put it together. So it's like, if there was like a UFC, like the one place where people wanted to see battle being done, then that would be one thing. But instead, it's like all these different companies doing different cards, and it's
do you want to be
of,
at Viacom or do you want to be at Revolt? That's basically what it comes down to it.
Right.
Like, do you want to be on Barstool? Do you want to be on FanDuel? Do you want Pepsi or do you want Coke?
Right.
Do you want You want Jif or you want Peter Pan?
Do you feel like the fans are kind of fatigued because it's just so much content that it's like, why would we spend money on it?
And everything is so microwavable. It's like the shelf life of everything is just so, like, I think the Dev Haney Ryan Garcia fight was like we came and went and we passed it. We already looking for. Then now you got the Jake Paul and Tyson joint about to come up. But I think that's going to get 2 days and then we're going to be. It's just the shelf. Everything is so microwavable. It's like heat it up. We love it. Now what's next? It's always what have you done for us lately? That's the culture. What's next? Yeah, you put out that last album. Well, what do you got going on now? Yeah, we seen the last battle. Who you about to battle? When are you putting out something? When's your next party, Ness? When's your next battle? When's your next song? What are you going to do big? When are you going to be on No Jumper? When are you going to be on this? Like,
that's what I always hear from rappers is that people will constantly come up to them and say, when you going to drop this or when you going to drop something new? And they're like, I just dropped something. But y'all just move past it so fucking fast.
Past it so fast. Like, I heard that. Like, you heard the whole 12 tracks album project I put. Like, I heard that. When are you going to put out something new? Bro, no cap. Did you listen to or you just saying, bro, I listened to the whole thing. You got the song talk about your mom. Then you got the song about your man that died. Then you talk about your kids. I heard the whole shit, bro. When are you going to put out something new? I'm like, yo.
So it's not that they're just not paying attention. They're paying attention, but their appetite is ridiculous.
I'm like, geez, Louise. But like I said, I turned lemons into lemonade. Everything that was used as a disadvantage, I turned to advantage. So I start selling a cheesecake. So everything you were clowning with, oh, you lost to J Mills, you can't battle. You walk for cheesecake, you're not hip hop, you're not rough enough. I got in battle rap to revise my whole image. Like, I can get in there with the hard street talent and go back and forth with that. You want to talk about cheesecake? I'm selling the merchandise. I got cheesecake now. Oh, go get me some cheesecake. No, I got it now. You want to buy it? You want to support me? No, cool, but don't talk shit because I'm really selling a product now.
Did you have any particular feelings about cheesecake?
No, I didn't really have no.
It's pretty good.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's not what I usually go for, but
it's just I'm always going to be symbolized with cheesecake, so we walk for it.
Right.
So it's just like cheesecake. You're gonna think of Ness or making a band or some shit. We still getting mentioned till now. It was 20 years ago. People still saying walk for cheesecake or I'm not walking for cheesecake. I'm like, God damn, that was 20 years ago.
Right.
And people remember that from the fucking.
Was there a period of time where you didn't have to hear about that part of your life
Never.
in every single battle rap?
Every year.
Because, okay, I was watching you in Geechee Gotti, and I'm like, oh, of course, now every battle you do is going to be basically them accusing you of being like conspiring with some weird shit, right?
It fell right into his hand because it was in the algorithm. So him just, playing on that, it worked out in his favor. Yeah. I'm always going to be linked to that in that situation. When he wins, it's going to be like, oh, he didn't take you with him. When he loses, like, that's your man. So I always get both bad ends of
That's funny. But I mean, battle rap's like that. You got to just latch on to anything that you could possibly go with.
Yo, he got $100 million deal with Deliano. Like, damn, that's your man, why ain't?
Yes.
But then if something bad, that's your man.
Right.
That's your mentor with the weird shit. Like, it's always going to be a bad thing.
And you just got to make what you can out of it. Because even like this interview, I've seen you on some other platforms recently. Right. Some of that is like you understanding like, oh, the public has an appetite for hearing about this kind of shit, even though you don't really have a whole lot of negative shit to say and you don't seem interested in really like playing that game.
I mean, it's just being real. It ain't me playing no game. It's just what I've seen. I can't get up here and make shit up. I just can't. Like, if I would have seen some shit, I'd have said it. I mean, I'm already been casted out. I've already been blacklisted or whatever. With the help of social media, gave me a new reintroduction to this generation. Some people think I'm just a battle rapper. Some people don't know my history on the show. They just look at me as a battle rapper and a freestyler on Instagram, or online, on YouTube, or on social media. So some people might not know my history. Some people I'm a new artist. Some people I'm a revitalized artist. And some people I'm a new artist. Some people I'm a seasoned artist that's just now getting his flowers. So it's all different angles from all different types of people.
But when you say blacklisted, what's that rooted in? Or
meaning if it didn't work out with Puff, we don't know what dealings we have with him, we're not going to touch it because we don't know what's going on. It didn't work out with that situation. We don't know the specifics, so we're just not going to touch it.
Interesting.
And so it's not like Puff made the call. It's just that he's Puff's guy. We don't want to touch it because we know how shrewd Puff can be when it comes to business.
Right. And you only get to be new once. And a lot of people in hip hop are very married to anything that's new, and anything that's even like 6 months old from their perspective is now old and useless. But anything new, we want to latch onto.
Exactly. So it's like, oh, we seen that before, but no, you ain't seen it before because I never got to reach my full potential. You know what I mean? I was premiered in a group where you had 5 other different personalities and styles to mix in with mine. But I spearheaded the group to push over 500,000 units, and it was a job well done, and I was rewarded with another solo deal.
And that's the crazy thing about that is when I heard you say that the idea was for the band to be the next coming of the Fugees, because there's so little cohesion between the styles of everybody in the group, you know?
I mean, I was like you, Adam, like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's like a crazy idea.
But when I started to see the genius of Puff, when we all started to come together and start gelling, really vibing, making the album, I'm like, oh, I see what he's seeing in this.
Really?
And I start to see the madness, his method to his madness, per se. Like, all of us fit the same description. If you look at all past bad boy MCs, East Coast rappers, we kind of all fit the same description. Not that traditionally good looking, but high, bar heavy, lot of swag, know how to dress. Me, Big, Jadakiss, Rob, we all dark skinned, G Dep. We all kind of like fit the same description.
Because that is funny to think that in that time period, you hadn't seen Puffy work with anybody who was like a down south type dude. Right. And then all of a sudden in the band, you got a motherfucker who sounds like mystical and shit. And it's like, it would have been weird if Puff had fully just like gone for that kind of artist. But as the band, it kind of made sense.
So basically what I was saying about the analogies of the LA Rams and the shirts, that's what he was doing with the band. He was like playing his seeds with the South, the Southern flavor, which was launched Bad Boy.
Take the Browns to the Super Bowl.
What happened to Johnny?
Johnny who?
Mr. Football.
Who's that?
As well. He used to be down the Browns. And his name Johnny Football. Johnny Manziel.
I shouldn't do football references. I'm too ignorant to actual football. Yeah.
He was a bust. He said he.
How many of those you drink a day?
Just one. I'm just celebrating, man. Being a seasoned artist, this is a celebratory for me. Being on the new platforms like No Jumper and Act and shit like that. That's what my younger fans want to see.
Oh yeah.
I'm celebrating. I'm on No Jumper.
That is like a weird thing about No Jumper though, is that it's like we're so associated with like the new up and coming rappers, but then meanwhile, like myself, I want to do those interviews, but I also want to talk to all the people that I grew up on and people that I was respecting when I was younger and shit.
It's the balance. The hood respect you for that, for your balance.
I appreciate that.
For giving for opportunity to the younger artists and to the veteran MCs also.
Yeah.
So always keep that balance because it's 40-year-olds somewhere like, yo, when you gonna have such and such up there, as well as when you gonna have the Skrillas and the Duels and the Quillies and they still gonna be like that too. So you want to have a balance, and that balance you got, cool. Keep that going.
Yeah, no, definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fact. Because man, this weekend I was at a fucking Static Selecta Alchemist show at the Weed Awards in New York, the Billy Awards, and I'm like, damn, I ain't been to a show that was like this much of like an authentic hip hop crowd in a long ass time.
How that make you feel when you get in around them vibes?
Feels good. It was a weed fest too, so everybody was just high as fuck.
420?
Yeah. But no, it's dope. I like being in that.
I did a 420 joint in Jersey. I mean, it was hosted by Jim Jones. Jewels came through. Rick Ross was the headliner.
Oh, nice.
So he was in there polying and shit. High Tolerance.
Yeah.
Like a weed strain on the East Coast. They fuck with Jim and all them niggas. So it was definitely good vibes over there.
No, New York is like the new weed capital.
Bro.
420, that's where everybody was at.
Every fucking... It's like a smoke shop every 3 stores.
Right. Because they're trying to figure out who the big players are going to be.
Back in my day, it was 2 people. It was Cornbread and it was Jay Spice.
Damn.
It was the only 2 runners, the big runners, and you can go down to Harlem or the Bronx and go get Branson. Branson used to come in the Tupperware. First nigga to Bobby Branson was Puff. That shit cost $500 for a circle. That shit came in Tupperware. It was the best weed I smoked in my fucking life. The nigga forgot he bought it for me. We was supposed to fly out. I'm used to flying charter with Puff, private, G4, G5. So we so happened to pull up to commercial in LaGuardia. But I still got the whole Branson. I'm like, Puff, I'm not going through TSA with this. He like, bro, give me that fucking weed. He was like, don't ever talk about smuggling drugs in your raps again. The nigga takes the fucking weed, walks through TSA, shake the nigga hand, walk back out and get in the fucking Sprinter and sit there. They move your car, you're not supposed to sit.
Yeah.
We sitting right there in LaGuardia, parked until the flight is finished being delayed and all that.
Wow, just totally fearless.
Fearless.
Wow.
Then he cracked the joke. Don't ever talk about smuggling drugs in your raps again. Took the poo, put it in his pocket.
Wow.
Didn't even conceal it. Walked through. The machine lit up like a fire engine. Woo, woo, woo. He shook the nigga hand and walked back out and lit up again. Sat in the car and we waited. We was on a commercial flight with a fucking Branson in his pocket.
Wow.
That's when I knew he had power.
Power. That's real power.
I seen it.
No fear.
Firsthand.
But the way he felt right there is how I felt when my girl's assistant was too scared to bring some weed gummies on a flight. I'm like, what, you think that they're going to pull out a fucking chemistry set and start dissecting the gummies to figure out what the chemical makeup
I'm like,
is?
nah, I'm not. You, Puff, I'm Ness. I don't have the same resources and finances you do. TSA grip me up. I'm going. I'm going to miss this whole Hollywood, California to go see Usher and all that shit with you. I'm not, you take this shit. Took the shit, put it in his pocket, and walked right through the fucking metal detector.
100%. I wanted to mention this before. I forgot to throw this thought in there, but when we were talking about punching in versus writing in advance, the one thing that really made me think about that over the last couple of years was when I saw that Kanye documentary, and he's got these raps that he's written that ended up being like his classic songs.
Right.
But he's like rapping them over and over and over. He's got them memorized. He sees somebody, he's pulling them to the side and just rapping to them. And it occurred to me watching that this is like a totally different level of songwriting and putting music together, because he's got years to think about the bars and make it better. And that's like the exact opposite of what happens when you just punch in. So do you feel like something has been lost in hip hop over the years as a result?
The punching is, I mean, I met Game the same way. Shout out to the Game. I met him. I was introduced to his music through JT, the Bigger Figure.
Shout out JT. Great American. Hip-hop historian.
I fuck with JT.
Been around everything.
JT, beautiful person, right?
Crazy.
It's my guy. Shout
Incredible.
out to JT. We got a link back up. If you watch this interview, holla at me. Hit me on the gram, JT. You my guy. You already know.
Yeah, me too. You owe me a pod, JT. we got one more we're supposed to do. Me, him, and Wack.
Word?
Yeah.
Yeah, I fuck with JT. Shout out to JT. But I was introduced to Game through JT. He did a whole project. You know how the story play out with him and Game.
Right.
So I had met Game. I was like playing his whole 2 albums that he did with JT on the way back because we did a promotional run. You know, usually how artists do it, we do the whole East Coast. Then we tour bus. We usually fly to LA, and then we use the tour bus to do the rest of the promo all the way back to the East Coast. So I was on a tour bus coming from LA going back to Texas, listening to Game the whole weekend. Lo and behold, we got to Atlanta. That's when Game was being managed by D-Mac. D-Mac and Puff, they was all in cahoots back then. Game was supposed to sign a Bad Boy back then, but he never did. Make a long story short, that's how I met Game. Game gave me like 75 bars in the middle of 112. The famous club in Atlanta. That's how I met Game.
Really? And he just started spitting for you?
Niggas don't do that no more. Niggas don't share rhymes or spit rhymes no more. Niggas is punching. Niggas is so robotic and automated. It's just, like, to answer your question, that era is gone. I'm the only one that's still keeping it. Meaning, like, niggas like me, Fab, Cassidy, Rocky, fucking Dragon. We the ones who still spitting bars. No punch-ins over beats and still like giving you that same raw energy from that era, the DVD era, quote unquote.
But the crazy part about it is that it seems like in the 90s and shit, it was much more common for rapping to just take place in non-rap settings. You could be outside the bodega and motherfuckers would start rapping at each other, etc.
That was the best moments.
Whereas now, I spend a lot of time around rappers, and I usually don't even hear them talking about rapping, never mind actually rapping, unless they are in the studio. Like, I don't hear rappers talk about their flows or, oh, I got this, I'm going to say it like this. You know, like in the studio that takes place, but outside of that, it seems like it's just considered like uncool to be analytical about the actual act of rapping, even if you are a full-time rapper.
It depends on who you talking to, Adam.
That's true.
Some niggas go for the swag rap. Some niggas go for the J. Cole, Drake, Kendrick, K. Dot, Big 3 type of rap. Some people just go for the Lil Pump type shit. Some niggas go for the Lil Xan. Some niggas go for the Chris Brown, R&B, mesh rap. Some niggas go for the R. Kelly rap, sing type shit. Some niggas go for the drill. It's just who depends on you, on who you talking to. Some niggas like the punching shit. I used to not herald the punching shit, but then when I seen a nigga go in there and punch in and they play it back, the shit sound amazing when they played it back. So who the fuck am I to judge? How you, as long as you come to the final product and the final product is a fucking smash, I don't give a fuck how you did it. But like I said, to answer your question, people don't do it no more. They punching, they doing whatever it takes to get to the finish line to win.
Definitely. There's another thing I wanted to ask is, do you think that if they tried to do Making the Band again today, that it would work?
They have a line around the corner. Niggas talk shit about the show, what they wouldn't have did. As soon as it would be another competition audition, motherfuckers would be a line around the corner. Motherfuckers always talk shit about what they wouldn't do and do the same thing. Oh, don't fuck with that bitch. She a thot. Heard she loose. Don't fuck with her. She backdoor niggas. And then you don't fuck with her and see the same nigga that said that with her. Yo, bro, you told me not to fuck with her. I know, but I talked to Shorty. She mad cool. It's not what everybody thinks. We had a heart to heart. She's really cool. Nigga. That's the game. Don't do that, and then they do it. Like, no, I told you don't do it because it wouldn't work for you. The way I finessed it and made it work for me, I made it work. That's the game. Niggas always scaring you off the line to go do some shit they said they wouldn't do. They would do it. I wouldn't walk for cheese. Guess you. What else were you was doing? You was selling crack, getting locked up. What the fuck else you was doing?
Right.
What you got looking forward to? Death or in jail?
I guess like my thing is that it seems like there's so much ego in rappers these days, and like things are just different in the sense that if you have like a seed of talent and you have a couple of hot songs or whatever, you're already like kind of locally popping. It's kind of hard for me to imagine getting a bunch of like rappers who have the potential to be big on the same game plan of like being trapped in this fucking house for months at a time.
Yeah, that's the biggest task, is getting 6 different personalities to all move in one direction in one accord.
Yeah.
That's the job. It's not about the talent and the music. It's about, can I package it up and keep this group in one piece everywhere they need to be to promo to sell a record. That was our biggest problem. That's the reason why we never seen a reunion tour all these years.
And I also think that what you guys did would basically be unheard of now because of the fact that you guys spent 3 months filming it.
3 months.
That I've been involved with reality show productions.
3 months.
It's like, you're spending 40 grand a day. You're spending a shitload of money. So it's huge amounts of pressure. Even if this show is going to make it look like we were together for a month, we're going to film this shit in a week. If it's going to look like it took a week, we're going to film it in a day and a half. It's like, it's so much pressure to get the shit filmed as quickly as possible.
A lot of smoke and mirrors of production, and by the whole time you just sitting waiting because like we never see the finished product until the consumer, the mass people see it. So we're not really on a chopping block editing up with the MTV producers. We're watching it unfold as the whole world watching it unfold when they air it every 8 o'clock every Thursday. So it's like, we don't know. And a lot of things they would do, the chain of events would be all fucked up. Like say we go to a concert and then we would talk about the concert at the testimonials. Something would happen where the chain of events would be fucked up, but we would be talking about something prior to the concert, but they'll use what we talk to add it to like we were talking about the concert.
Right. And that's why a lot of people make the mistake.
They manipulate like a shit.
Exactly. People think that they are going to be able to like get into that environment and kind of like save themselves and like curate their own image. And that's impossible.
Like they'll say, yo, we have a talk about the Bible and Adam and Eve. And I say, man, fuck Adam. And then they'll make it seem like I said fuck Adam to you. But I was talking about something totally different.
Exactly.
And you'll be like, but then you'll see me be like, Ness, why you say that? I'm like, bro, I wasn't even. You be like, yes, you was, bro. And you be like, how can I tell you I wasn't the way they chopped it up? Like, yo, we had something going on. We was into it. And then you said, fuck that. Like, how did the fuck did it add up? Like, no, we was talking about Adam and Eve, bro.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
So you mentioned G Dep. How well did you know him?
I've known him shortly. Like I said, we was isolated. So he did, was able to sit in with us as a group on some of our mixing sessions. But he was real quiet, laid back. He wasn't really too social. Like I said, we was really insulated at that time.
Right.
So we really didn't have access to label mates and such thing. I made it my business to catch a vibe with Rob, Dep, Loon, outside when the cameras was off. My own relationship. But as far as collective and him being around, as far as we was a group and recording, it was only a few times when Dep was around. But he was always cool, always a real nigga, and then just stayed to himself and was just mad cool.
He didn't tell you about his body back then?
Nah.
Were you surprised when he turned himself in?
I was surprised. I ain't gonna lie, that took a lot of to admit to something like that you had got away with.
But you probably don't want to admit to it to the cops.
Fuck no. I would have took that shit to my grave.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like everybody I'm sure you know people that have done certain things.
People did shit to me that still eat me up. And if I had the chance, I would do something about it that I wouldn't be able to come back from. So I understand dealing with those demons, and sometimes it just eats you up. And you have to rectify that and be like, yo, I gotta face that, because you'll be feeling the same way. He put himself in his shoes where I gotta think about the friends and family of the victim. Them not knowing. Living all these years, our loved one was taken away. We don't know who to accuse, who to blame. And I think he just wanted to be done with those demons.
Yeah.
I would live with those demons for the rest of my life.
Because actually, I watched an interview clip with him where he made it clear that he didn't actually know if the person died or not.
He didn't.
So that's part of why he went to the cops, was to figure out what happened. Yeah. And it was in his head, it was a likely scenario that there was not going to be any charges.
That would never happen for me. I would never do that.
Yeah.
I would never do the job, but police jobs for him. I don't get paid to do police work.
Right.
You want to solve a murder? You solve them.
Yeah. You guys are going to have to do that legwork. Yeah.
I'm not solving a murder for you.
Yeah.
I'm just not doing it.
That's so crazy, bro. I'm just like, I've been thinking about it. And I've been thinking about it since it happened, since he turned himself in.
I talked to Jep since he was out.
Really?
I was supposed to link up, do some shit. I know he got a lot of material. He's been going for 13 years. That's how I was.
I couldn't believe it when I realized he was gone for 13 years. I'm like, how the fuck did that just fly by? It feels
I said,
like,
bro,
I thought
I
it was
said
like
this-
5 years ago.
That's what it felt like. I never knew it was 13 fucking years.
What the fuck?
That's a long time.
And I'm just a guy reading about it in the fucking news and shit.
How you think I feel about it? I felt kind of guilty that it been that long.
Right.
Like, damn, it been that fucking long.
It's crazy, man.
Shouts out to the deputy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, he's a legend for sure.
For sure.
Were you ever around Shyne? Or those eras did not intersect, right?
No, we came right after that.
Yeah.
So Making It Band was an instrument Puff used to revitalize his whole image after that incident.
Oh, right. That's a good point. Yeah. And now we know a shitload more about it because Shyne and the woman who was involved in the situation both are coming with a different
I don't
version.
respect these 20-year speaker outers. What you think about that, Adam, though? The 20-year ago had a dick in my mouth, was already fried and finessed and manipulated. Now it was 20 years later. I don't respect that. I believe once you, now I'm never going to celebrate my oppressor or victimize the victim. Now, if you was victimized, you was victimized. But if I think it should be a rule, if you move on and be married and pop 2 more fucking babies out your ass, you've already kind of dealt with the situation in your mind. You've moved on.
Right.
It's not, you know what I mean? You did some healing.
Yeah.
That 20-year shit, I don't respect
But what
that
about just
20-year
coming from
shit.
Shine's mouth that realizing that he apparently was dedicated to staying solid for like 20 years, and then at a certain point it's just like, all right, I'll just tell the world, fuck it.
At a point in time, I think Shyne knew that he was going to be able to be, he was going to be the fall guy in that situation, and I think that he accepted his fate in that. And since then, I think him and Puff has reconciled their differences, whether it was a monetary reward or it was a shake of hands or it was just an understanding.
Right.
But, you know, that 20-year shit, I just don't, you got shot, you cool, now you want to say, it was really this guy. Yeah, come on, man, come on. That means you was paid some hush money back then. So it's not valid to me. Now, I know Shyne got to relive it, and it's kind of, it's bad, it's a bad vibe on that tip, but we got past it. Everybody's still alive. Niggas ain't, you know what I mean?
It's just crazy to think that Shyne came home all those years ago and wasn't tempted to kind of like even hint at it. Like, well, hey, this shit didn't really go on the way that y'all thought it went on.
I can't normalize nobody giving up 10 years of their life for that.
Yeah.
But what I can say is nobody died and it could have been worse. It could have been way worse. They could have put Shyne under the jail and, you know what I mean, whatever he worked out, it was better than the death penalty or life.
This is why you need someone else around to do your dirty work. Because why is the star rapper the one taking the heat for this situation? Now, granted, like you're talking about the star producer, executive, et cetera, in Puff, but like there's supposed to be other guys around to do the bullshit.
Free shit costs you, Adam. Going out and party with your bitch, with a rapper from your label, at a hot spot where you know the street element frequent, is a risk, is a cost. It's a cost to pop out and be lit. And had the latest shit on, had all the jewelry on, and the element that you don't know is always around you. There's always danger around you.
Right.
Free shit costs. When a nigga asks me to pop out, he don't know I gotta get a haircut, get an outfit, some new sneakers, maybe a new chain, maybe I gotta get my jewelry. Free shit costs. I only pop out when it's beneficial because then you can be like, damn, I could have just stayed home. The point I'm trying to make, hey, he went out that night, it wouldn't spiral out of control. You wouldn't even got into that incident. Sometimes being this shit, you be a victim of your own like celebrity.
Yeah.
And that was one of those instances that night.
Yeah. But I mean, you think he was rolling around without security that
Bro,
night?
you never know. Danger's all around you. All the time. All the time. Nobody's invulnerable. You could be touched, especially in them settings. And there's niggas out there that don't give a fuck about your money and your influence in other areas of the world.
100%. You know, so I had a conversation yesterday because whenever I interview somebody who's like real battle rap adjacent, I hit up my man Lush One and I
Shout out
say,
to Lush.
Lush, give me the full rundown. How is this person viewed in the battle community, et cetera? And he told me that you are massively respected for being able to transition throughout all these different eras of battle rap and still be respected, still be able to do your thing.
That's a reward in itself. Because like I said, it's just the way the window for artists and battle rap and all that shit is a small window. And if you don't capitalize it with that window, you could be out the door. And for me to transition over 20 years and still be respected and still be booked, still get flights booked and matches booked, that's a testament to my resiliency over these years. Shout out to Lush One. He's been a big supporter of Ness over the years. Shout out to Avocado, Ruin Your Day, Smack, King of the Dot. You know, that's like Drake's lead, kinda. Shout out to Organic. I've been grateful enough to just survive all these years and still be had that skill set and have a good enough routine where people still pay to see me. You know what I mean?
How much actual work goes into getting ready for a battle?
A lot of mental capacity, a lot of planning, a lot of prepping. You had to put yourself in a mental space. It's almost like adjacent in comparison to being that of a boxer. It's just a lot of mental. It drains you mentally because, one, you got to rap about a whole nother person for a good 9 minutes. So you had to find dirt and just bad shit to say about them, and sometimes that's not people's nature. So you have to turn on a switch where you get in demon mode and you have to blink the world out, not be watching the kids, not be a family man right now. You got to go in the fucking woods and grow the beard like Wolverine and you know what I'm saying? You got to just be in savage gladiator mode. So it's a different person that you had to become to be able to disrespect somebody for 9 minutes.
Right.
The way I deal with it, people going to say this shit about me anyway. It only makes sense to get paid for it. And then in return, I can say what I want to say. All my toxic shit I want to say about you.
Really? Having been to a battle or two, it is kind of astonishing, though, when you're in that environment and you realize how much people don't hate each other.
Yeah, everybody's...
It's like getting backstage at the
like
wrestling match.
Yeah, right in the back. But then when we get on, fuck you, your mother. And you like, damn, y'all just was back smoking and joking and
because as a kid who was always just like watching the shit on YouTube, you kind of assume, like, not knowing the backstory and not knowing like what they were doing before and after this, that there's like a real hatred going on here. And
battle rap, I use battle rap. I won't say I would use it because I was doing it on the show. But I use battle rap as a tool to reintroduce myself to the new fans. People that probably didn't catch the show or wasn't. This is a platform for me to showcase my skill on a different platform, which is one of the most purest forms of hip hop, battle rap. And people love it. And then Cross is in Russia. You had disaster battling Russian guys. And you had Arsenal over there in the UK with Shoddy Horror, Don't Flop. Shout out to my guy that's over in the UK doing it. Battle rap. I never thought that back in 2000 when I battled J Mills on MTV, that battle rap would be thus vast and have this much influence and impact where they're getting sponsorship from exclusive vodka and this and that. It's corporate. It's corporate now. It's corporate.
100%.
The caffeine, the URL apps, the Twitch, all these apps, corporate.
Yeah, it's a big business. It's crazy. Okay, I have to dip out within a little bit, but I have a couple of things I wanted to ask you about. What is your position on Meek Mill and the hailstorm of in my eyes, unnecessary controversy that he's kind of been dealing with the last couple of months by being thrown in this whole Diddy storyline? What's your perspective on that?
I'm gonna say first, start off, Meek has been a big supporter of mine over the years. Even though he's younger than me, we come from the same circumstances. We come from Philly, which is a competitive city. So I watched his whole glow up. So I never had nothing bad to say about Meek Mill's. One, he's not in my graduating class. He's kind of like younger than me, so he's in a younger graduating class.
10 years after you.
Boom. So I was already on before he got on. So it's nothing that I never felt no way, he gets that kind of, he didn't do anything for this person or this person. I never felt like he owed me anything because we just wasn't in the same realm as far as age-wise. So it's always been a mutual respect as an MC. To answer your question, we just got to see how it play out. I don't really like it because, I'm real geographical. Anything coming from Philly, I try to defend it as much as possible because that's my state. That's just what we do. From the Eagles to the Sixers to the Flyers to the fucking Phillies, to Beanie Siegel to Lil Uzi to P&B to Meek Mills to Bill Cosby, Patti LaBelle, Music the Soul Child, Jill Scott, Gillie Wallow. I'm Philly all day, and I'm just going to stand by my city. Good, bad, or indifferent.
Because Philly could not be a huge factor in the conversation about rap, because there's other cities that are not so far away from New York City. Listen, I'm from a suburb of Boston. Boston's trajectory, yeah, I love it. But I mean, hip hop wise, it's kind of astonishing how few rappers have really come up out of Boston. Meanwhile, Philly, it might have been a little bit slower to get going than New York, but definitely like there's a very intense lineage of talent over the years. And
Philly has always been in the shadow of New York. We just want to keep it a stack.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we always had our individualism, and we always notice over the course of maybe a decade plus, every fashion of some type of form of success of a big label has had a Philly artist.
Yes.
Cash Money, Gillie, Rockefeller, the whole state property, Rough Riders, Eve, Uzi, P&B Rock, motherfucking Game had Cicero. Like, you need a Philly guy on your fucking team.
I like that.
That's just what it's always been, and we always stood on business, and we was always honorable and sturdy, and we always had that no nonsense mentality about a Philadelphian or a Philadelphia artist, even Uzi.
Even those conversations I was having with Skrilla and Duel and shit, they were basically saying, we don't respect the crab in a barrel mentality that would cause people to want to just write Meek off so eagerly when he did so much for the city and put on for the city so much.
People gonna always have that kind of idea of somebody that didn't do anything for them. But real men, we don't really float on those vibes. You do what you can for those that you can touch. First and foremost, you got to take care of your family, and anything extra after that, if you can extend your hand, you can. But nobody owe nobody nothing. And I'm not trying to be PC. I'm just coming from the things that I've seen and the experience that I've, shit, we all got the same 24 hours, Adam. I mean, yeah, Meek is doing this thing, but we all have boundaries and limitations. You can't stop a cold. You can't stop the flu. When it's happening, it's going to happen. I don't give a fuck how many millions you got in your account. When you get cold, you're out of commission for those days. No amount of money can get you out of that. It has to take its course. Same thing with Meek Mills and Diddy. It just has to take its course.
This is true. Meek will be exonerated in the end, because the evidence against him, or the evidence of him being on some weird shit, is so bad, and I feel like the people at some point are gonna have a reckoning of being like, shit, we really came up with a whole catchphrase trying to go in on homie.
But like 5 years ago, were we seeing this coming? No,
for sure. You mentioned Gillie, and he's obviously like someone who musically, his career didn't exactly explode the way that it was supposed to at a certain point back in the day, but now he's managed to find a huge amount of success with the podcasting and everything. Has that been inspirational to see that coming together for him?
Give hope to niggas like me that's, getting up in age and still, haven't lost the spark, the flair to create content, whether it be musically, podcasts, or whatever forms of entertainment or media. And just to see him at this age still be successful and relevant after all the false starts that he had, that the people would depict would be false starts, because we never know what he personally went through. But to be celebrated at this point in his career is beautiful, and it gives me more life to keep going and doing the things. Griselda, those guys, Benny, Conway, Westside, for those guys to be at that age and still being high-level MCs and doing tours and shit like that. Those are my guys. Benny is on my album also. We got a song called Trifecta. So any guy that's been around with early 2000s or never got their shot and still going hard at it, still beating the pavement, still pressing up merch, still putting out projects, still touring, doing shows, spot dates, being able to be, touched by their fans, that's who I champion. That's what I herald myself after.
100%. All right, my last question. If you were an advisor to Kendrick Lamar right now, what does he need to bring to the table in order to sort of swing the pendulum, since it seems like most people feel like Drake is currently up on the scoreboard?
For sure.
What's Kendrick got to bring to the table in order to win this thing?
I'm close to Kendrick's team too.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so
I won't pretend that you're going to be
not
fully...
won't, because this Adam 22 jumping, we got to keep it tall. So what I'm saying is, this is Kendrick's ultimate rollout. He did it a couple years ago with the Control. He always dropped this crazy verse and just shake the building, and then we all left in fucking limbo. Personally, me, it was enough sufficient time for him to do a response track or response verse. The way it's looking now, we might not get it. We might, I don't know. It's been this 4-year diss track we've been hearing about that's being straddled in the fans' face. I don't know. I still like K Dot. I think K Dot verse is still like up there. I think it's still holding like water. Like to me, Drake has did his thing with his 2 tracks. Ross jumped in, but I still fuck with the Kendrick verse. I don't think he's going to respond, bro. I think that he just did it. You know what I mean? He's setting up his album. I think it was a great fucking promotional tool. It got the world crazy. Then who knows? We all could be fucking idiots. And who knows? Drake, Metro, J. Cole, and Future could be in the back room planning this whole shit. We don't fucking know. We just here for the entertainment, but I don't think K-Dot's going to respond.
I mean, Drake responding in a timely manner makes sense because Drake is someone who seems like he's always kind of kept more communication with the fans and whatnot. With Kendrick, it's like this is the guy, the ultimate guy who moves on his own time.
Yeah.
So if we don't hear a song for 4 months, that wouldn't surprise me.
This might hurt some egos, but I think out of the 3, Kendrick is the more artsy. When I say artsy, I'm not trying to say corny or more. I'm just trying to say he takes it more serious.
For sure.
His timing, his pacing, what he's going to say, how he's going to say it, who he's going to say it with, the backdrop, everything. And it's just, Drake is just, he just on go, green light. He dropped 2 records. And I think because of the Pusha T thing, how everybody was left in limbo, he didn't respond. I think he's on a fucking warpath to prove that he's the dominant artist of this fucking century.
And he's not coming off scared, which is good because that was always the assumption is like Drake is scared of Kendrick. So
but then you got my guy Ye, and not to make a long drunk, because I know you said you got a boogie. Here come Ye. We don't know the Ye and Drake situation.
J. Cole, get the pussy dry.
Here come Ye. We don't know why them 2 giants won't fucking. So we just gotta all preserve our bodies, smoke good, so we can all live long enough to see how it all
happens. No, you're right though. I mean, we should all appreciate this because there's been a couple of years, 2022, 2023, that I feel like hip hop might not really remember so kindly. You might look at those as like years where maybe shit wasn't so exciting. All of a sudden, we have plenty to be thankful for if you're interested in, competitive rapping.
No, it's good for the energy. It shook things up. It definitely got me tuned in. Everybody was kumbaya for a time, which was cool because all of the violence that was prior to that, we had our phase with the kumbaya, everybody jumping on tracks. That's good for the balance. It's just like when you watch The Godfather when, Corleone said, every 5 years, when Clemens, every 5 years you might get a civil war with all the families. It's good to get the bad blood out the way. That's how I feel was going on with the Drake, Cole, Ross,
Metro. Weekend. 20 versus 1.
20 versus 1.
No, but the thing that I think that is dope about it is that, listen, I enjoyed watching the NBA Youngboy King Von saga play out on social media, but you can't watch that kind of thing without feeling a degree of guilt because you know that this is probably going to turn into some violence at a certain point. This feels different.
It's way different.
This feels like we can just appreciate it the way that we appreciate a battle, the way that we appreciate diss tracks that don't seem like they're going to turn into something terrible.
I don't think it's so, but like you said, just to be short on that, the young boy and Von, that was a different energy.
Yes.
And when you're different with testosterone and younger adults, we get way more aggressiveness, way more assertiveness. With these guys, they're more established.
They got a lot to live for.
More calculated. They got finances, resources. I think it's just going to stay at rap in the lyrical chess game that they're playing. I don't think it's going to play out in the streets. Even though Ross is really being an antagonistic on social media, which is what he did with the 50 shit. So,
right.
But not to talk too much about that. I just want to promote before we get out of here.
Yes.
I got 2 projects out. We about to drop Let Me Borrow This Beat 2, hosted by DJ Self and DJ Cosmic Kev. I dropped the first one 2 years ago, Let Me Borrow This Beat, hosted by DJ Alamo. Got the Ness and Friends out in stores right now. and Lou the Chemist, Lou Phil, which is my alter ego featuring Ace the Chemist, which is also a producer and an artist I work close by.
Beautiful, man. Hey, it was an honor to get to sit down with you. I wish that I could interview you for an additional hour. But, yo, thank you so much, man. It's an amazing story, and it's dope seeing you still doing your thing and living hip-hop to its fullest and having your respect and making
Are y'all
moves.
happy now? I'm on No Jumper. I'm on fucking the platform, the biggest platform, one of the biggest platform. Who you think? Who the big three?
Big three. Vlad Akin, 22. Let's go. He said it, too. Dude, you see that? He's smiling.
Big three.
Appreciate you, G. Much love.